All the stuff that you can see here. We've got caster sugar, plain flour. We've got a teapot. Actually, this is a bit unfair because this is for me. This is a cup of tea, and I've just made a pot of tea because a cup of tea is never enough. Got to have tea while you're working. We've got some milk, some jam, some chocolate syrup, some butter, some eggs, some salt, some measurement cups, some spoon measurements, a whisk, a colander, sifter, granulated sugar, a bowl, and a couple of plates and forks for later on. So I don't know if you know what all of this is called. Caster sugar, this is powdered sugar. Do you have a word for this in Indonesian? I'm asking my wife Johanna, not people necessarily on the video.
Gula halus.
Gula halus. And granulated sugar, this kind of sugar?
Gula pasir.
Oh, right, okay, so there's a difference in the stuff. Okay, well, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a whole 1 cup measure, and I'm going to take some plain flour and just put this into the sifter. So, in there, just level it off, don't need to pack it down, and this is where this thing comes in handy. We just pop that in there. Notice I said pop that in there. Pop that in there is a nice English expression for put, and then I'm just tapping it. I'm tapping it against my hand. I am tapping. Present continuous, it's what I'm doing right now. It's different with simple present. And there we go. We've got some nice unlumpy flour in the bowl. Here I've got a couple of eggs. So crack it on a hard surface. No shell from the egg going into the flour. Egg number 1. Egg number 2. Washing hands. And all we're going to do at the moment is we're going to just whisk this up and combine the eggs in with the flour to start us off. So all I'm doing is I'm just mixing the eggs into the flour. It looks a little bit kind of clumpy and messy. Don't worry, that'll all change when we add our wet ingredients. So here I've got some milk. Now for milk, I want a cup. So there's a cup of milk, and I'm just going to pop this in gradually. Notice I'm not using all of it.
How many measurement?
How many is what? The milk. This is the measurement is called a cup. A cup is usually an American measurement. I'm sure I can probably find some alternative measurements for grams or milliliters, and I'll try and pop those on there as well. So there we go, mixing that in there. Okay, here I'm going to take this big measurement here. This is a tablespoon. You'll hear different measurements: teaspoon, tablespoon, dessert spoon. This is a tablespoon. Here's a tablespoon of sugar, granulated sugar, gula pasir, going into there. And I'm going to take this little one here. This is a 1/4 of a teaspoon, and there's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1/4 teaspoon of salt going in there as well. So I'm a big fan of thinking that cooking, if you think about it, you can do pretty much all of the lessons that you have at school in cooking. So here we've got chemistry going on. I'm not a chemist, but I'm sure chemistry students could tell me the applications of chemistry in cooking. Physics, when we get to kind of like the heat and perhaps the force that I'm using with the whisk on the ingredients. Physics is involved in here as well. Biology, the kind of origin of where a lot of the ingredients come from. So there's the science is taken care of. Geography, where all this stuff comes from. History, how long we've been making these things. I'm actually going to teach you a slightly different language, because for all those people who've been guessing on Facebook and Instagram what we're making today, no, we're not making a cake. No, we're not making bread, we're making crepes. Crepes are a French recipe, known as pretty much pancakes anywhere else, but not like the American thick, fluffy pancakes. These are thin and crispy and buttery, and they taste beautiful. They can be used to make savoury pancakes. Savoury means salty that you can use with meat, or they can be used to make sweet pancakes. And today I'm going to make sweet pancakes, as you can probably tell from the ingredients that we've got here. Okay, need to stop and just have a little bit of a slurp of tea. So there's the ingredients, all combined, all mixed up together. Here is a flat pan. As you can see from the pan, it's flat. And that's going to help us make the crepes. So I'm going to pop this on the gas onto a low light. Okay, not a high heat, just onto a low heat. And I'm going to allow that pan to heat up. If you pop that on, we probably won't be able to hear, so we'll just leave that off for the time being. So milk goes back in the fridge. Can put away all this stuff. This is called cleaning as you go. Here I've got the sink already with some water and some washing up liquid in. And rather than put all of the ingredients out for mum or the maid, or in this case my wife, to wash all of the ingredients, we can do it as we're going, and it means we've got less to do later on. So the pan's warming up nicely. Time for the next ingredient. The next ingredient is going to be our little bit of butter. So in we go with some butter just to flavour the pan. In we go with our pancake mix. Round and round in the pan, that's better, covering the whole of the pan. Just turn the heat down a little bit high. And my pan isn't perfectly flat. There are crepe pans. I used to have a crepe pan, Yana. I don't know where it went. But here we are. It's not perfectly flat. Just lifting it at the edges, trying not to tear it because it is very delicate. Just loosening it up around the edges so you can slide that knife underneath. Still sticking somewhere. It's probably going to be a little bit too gentle to flip over. and one perfectly flipped crepe. Look at that beautiful colour on there. That's now what a crepe should be looking like. At this point is when you can add a little bit of chocolate sauce, and if you want to add a little bit of strawberry jam, which we're running out of, you can add a little bit of strawberry jam into there as well. And then as it finishes cooking, we're just going to fold it over in half, and then we're going to fold it over again in quarters, and then we're going to take our plate we prepared earlier, and we're going to pop this. Do me a favour, just pass me that egg slice. Thank you. So there's our crepe. And finally, I'm just going to top this off. No, we're going to need it again. So, one crepe for my beautiful wife, Johanna.
Thank you.
Enjoy breakfast.